Hello, my loves. Welcome back to Chemistry with Kismet Tarot. I am Monica, the Kismet Chemist. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Welcome to the family. It's an honor to have you here. If you are returning, welcome back. I have missed you. So today's reading, we are going to be tapping into the energy of Saturn, who turned direct from the first retrograde period in Pisces this past weekend in the beginning of November. And we're going to be finding out how the lessons from your inner world through Saturn being in Pisces is helping you to have an effect upon the outer world. So Saturn's transit through Pisces has begun a cycle of lessons unlike any others, because this transit is under the rulership of Neptune. The struggles, the obstacles, the challenges that we're all collectively facing exist within the depths of the collective unconscious. And these are being illuminated for us, and we're being able to, or we're being shown more how these different collective unconscious beliefs are playing out within each one of us. So regardless of whatever house Pisces occupies in your natal chart, the energies of the 12th house of Neptune and of the realm of spirit are being amplified. So when I wrote the planetary retrograde guidebooks in 2022, I had this consistent message that kept coming through: the lessons of the Father reflected in the Son. Greek mythological archetypes were incredibly and profoundly evident and tangible while I was writing those books. This year, the ways it's come to manifest in our life, these retrograde transits, not just our lives, but our day-to-day experiences, it's really pushed on how we've learned these lessons and how we can carry them forward. So and I've seen this in so many people, that we all have been really tested individually within our local area or local communities, but even collectively in the world. You know, humanity itself is being tested right now. A lot of us have come in, or how do I phrase this? I've noticed more and more that people are taking to really speaking out about different ways that we are not honoring each other, different ways that we are harming each other. There are wars going on all over the world, and people are really speaking out about it, but we have a lot of dueling perspectives because we're not a part of it, and there are so many people that are weighing in on it, and that creates a lot of chaos. Saturn teaches us. A lot of people think of Saturn as being really hard, really impossible to move through, really impossible to work with, but I love Saturn's energy. Saturn teaches each and every one of us, and that is always the energy that I've picked up from Saturn. It's that professor energy. I have learned through the work that I do with Saturn and with the planets and working here with the collective energies, I've learned how we can learn, how we can grow, how we can love more profoundly by opening ourselves up to the truths that we all hold within ourselves, divine truths, emotional, mental, physical truths that are about basic human rights. There are so many things that we hold within ourselves, and a lot of the times we're holding them within ourselves because we're afraid to speak up. We're afraid of the ramifications of the words that we share. And that's directly in the realm of Saturn with cause and effect. Today, we're going to unravel. We're going to, when I tap into this energy, I see like this tangled up ball of yarn, and how frustrating it can be to try and unravel that. You might want to toss it out. You might want to just cut it and figure out how many strands you have and whether you can do anything with it. But if we take the time to unravel it, to unknot it, to be patient with it, we have significantly more to work with. And it comes out almost whole. In that way, we are going through this kind of unraveling, awakening, blossoming, if you will, awareness from the inside out. And this is all going to be guided by Saturn. Saturn, what I picked up, wants us to focus on compassion, empathy, and the connection that we all contain within ourselves to the divine, but also to each other, to ourselves, and how all of these different things can actually aid us in having a greater effect on the world. Now, I got this message multiple times, and it comes in all the time about change. Change begins with the self. You change the self first and then move out from there. And this is something that is still very prevalent in this energy. Saturn is asking us to realize that if we do not change our own perspectives, our own beliefs, our own prejudices and judgments that we make for whatever reason, if we don't seek to change those, to see the equality and the unity that we're meant to have with everybody else, moving into the world and expecting other people to hold to those things and to realize those things and to change, is creating the illusion that change is going to happen in that way. We are meant to change ourselves internally first. Everything starts with the self and then blossoms outward. So we have 4 piles. Each one has a Soul's Journey card as well as one of the Elder Futhark runes. So pile 1, we have Freedom with Dagas. Pile 2, we have Growth with Wunjo. Pile 3, we have Friendship with Elhaz. And pile 4, we have Success with Rado. I'm going to go ahead and put on some meditation music for you guys. The timestamps will be in the description box below, and I will see you all at your piles. Hello, pile 1. If you chose the Freedom card with the Dagas rune, this is your message about what lessons from Saturn are helping you to have a new effect within the world. So I'm going to tell you guys the intention for the cards, and then I will go ahead and jump into the channeled message that I got prior to pulling the cards and everything like that based off of the Freedom and the Dagas rune. So the tarot cards here are about how the lesson itself unfolded in your inner world. So we're going to be focusing on that subconscious mind, on the different things that have come to the surface, different things that have felt kind of entangled or knotted up, that over the course of the past few months, while Saturn has been retrograded, has made itself known to you, but also has been that inner journey that you have walked. The 2 oracle decks that we have down here are helping you to bring your awareness back into the outside world after that inner journey with Saturn. So you guys have the Freedom card as well as the Dagaz rune. And the Freedom card says, I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. So the rune itself is it's called Day, Dagaz or Day. It's rune number 23, which reduces down to a 5. And as I was channeling that, if you guys aren't familiar with the way that my mind kind of makes correlations when I'm looking at numbers and I'm reducing down, I always look at what the foundational numerology is related to when it comes to, say, the major arcana cards. So in this case, we have the number 5, which is the Hierophant energy or Taurian energy. So this is all about lessons that focused on that interaction of Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus and how old beliefs of expansion, without consideration of the impact, can fuel chaos, and more so chaos out of a place of fear rather than the chaos of creation. So when we're working with Uranus energy, and especially Uranus and Taurus energy, it can feel very chaotic because Uranus is about change and Taurus is about stability. But oftentimes we forget that in order to create stability, we must first create change. So if we can embrace the fact that it's going to feel chaotic because we're shaking up this foundational belief that we have to do things the same way all the time, be very, very fixed in the way that we move through our life or interact with the physical realm or create a safe and stable foundation and home for ourselves within the world within ourselves. If we can ameliorate ourselves to the fact that we need chaos to be ushered in, we can learn how to take that chaos and make it a creative endeavor in which we become the co-creators and we understand, yes, things are shaken up, but they're being shooken up for the sake of more stability. With Jupiter entering Taurus and interacting like this, a lot of the lessons of Saturn, which I mentioned during the intro, of the lessons of the father being reflected in the sun, Saturn is the father of Jupiter. Jupiter or Uranus is the father of Saturn. So we have multi-generational lessons here sitting within a collective watery psychic energy as far as Saturn goes, and the very grounded, very aesthetic, very luxurious, very fixated in its purpose, path, and grounded energy. Sorry about that, guys. Grounded energy of Taurus. So we have the creator of the heavens as the earth and the stars as Uranus or Uranus, alongside his grandson, who is all about let's go, let's expand, let's see how far we can stretch ourselves, let's see how many things that we can do and we can accomplish and just expand exponentially. Both of these energies together in the sign of Taurus is bringing a lot of conflict, a lot of chaos. Both of these energies desire freedom. Even Saturn desires freedom, but Saturn in the skies brings us the awareness that freedom comes as an effect of some sort of action taken or belief moved into a truth, but that there is always something that we have to go through to attain it. I don't want to say that there are consequences or there are ramifications or anything like that, because it's not necessarily how it works. It's just Saturn wants us to understand the symbiotic relationship between our actions and our manifestations. And when we define freedom, it's unique to each individual. What I believe to be freedom may be very different from what you believe to be freedom. So when we're working on this energy, it's realizing not everything that looks good is good. Not everything that looks bad is bad. And not everything, or rather nothing, is actually good or bad unless we deem it to be. So within that, we've got good over here and bad over here. We've got two extremes. So imagine a string in between them. They're being held by my hands. There's a string in between them. It could be a tightrope. You're standing right here in the middle of that. And that is the lesson here. It's about being within the truth of the extremes of a dualistic nature. In that in-between state, therein lies the existence of the paradox of both of these things existing simultaneously. And the most exciting part of what I channeled for you guys is something I had never considered before. It's freedom. This energy is about freedom of the mind from this or that, from a differentiation between two oppositional energies, two oppositional beliefs, two oppositional paths. It's this understanding that we're locking ourselves down into this limitation that there can be either this or that. And realizing that there is a unity of both. We are both this and both that. And in doing that, in accepting the both and concept, which is considered paradoxical in nature because we think of opposites as not being able to exist together, but they do. And because of the premise of divine masculine, divine feminine energy that we all contain within us, we are living, breathing examples of a paradox. Humanity itself is a paradox. And I love that because I had never thought about it that way. We spend a lot of time tangling our minds up in definitions, labels, identities, in what is and isn't, or what is good or bad, or this extreme or that extreme, or this nature versus that nature, nature versus nurture, all of these things. We wrap ourselves up trying to pull apart the opposites, except they're one and the same. And when we come into this realization that we are perpetually living a life of a paradox because we exist in so many different ways, it actually lessens the impact of the paradoxical ideation or philosophy. So a paradoxical philosophy is I can be free while also having commitments, having attachments, having this. Like I can be free, but not free at the same time. I can be human and divine. I can be divine masculine and divine feminine. I can be happy. I can be sad. I am a paradox, and that's okay. It's okay for me to say I'm a paradox because I understand that that's the case everywhere. I also got I got two different messages for you guys as far as just like direct channel writing. But day is not contained within the structures of sunrise to sunset. It is contained within the light. The illusion of night occurs due to our physical perception, but the sun shines both times. For the illuminated moon is but a reflection of the sun to remind us we are never without the light of life, even in the darkest parts of our journey. The moon does not actually give off light. The moon is a reflection. The moon is, in the contextual nature of this reading, the moon is the reminder as we're walking through a dark night of the soul, as we are walking through our subconscious and unconscious minds, as we are going on this inner journey. The moon itself, a full moon, is an example, a beacon to remind you that no matter how dark things seem, there is always a life-giving force of light within you. And we can look at the shift from day to night as that example, because the moon itself does not give off light. The moon reflects light. So it shows that even though the moon itself is innately dark, it is still a luminary in our sky. So even if you're in the dark, you still have a light that shines. This breaks a construct that in the darkness, we have to seek out a light, or there is no light to be found, or the darkness is bad and the light is good, because they exist at the same time and they show themselves to us by working together. The other message I got for you guys was freedom comes forth now in your own choice of meaning. And Saturn's lesson is focused upon the strongest part you hold within, the wisdom that your light shines. And love, hope, optimism are all available within yourself. Your truest spiritual strength is not battling, but the hope which guides your feet. And I was hearing the song Seasons of Love from the Rent soundtrack. I don't know if you guys know the song, but that has been playing in my head with this energy in particular. So this is about you guys kind of breaking down the constructs that essentially put you in devil energy. Like, because we're working with Saturn, I know the devil is correlated to Capricorn and Saturn is the world card, but they're intricately intertwined, so they aren't fully separable. So we're working a lot with how we construct certain belief systems and certain identities, identification of self, masks, personas, even just mindsets that really do keep us locked down into this idea or notion that we have to narrow, we have to limit, we can't be more than this, or we can't be more than that. And if you guys think about it in terms of, say, Einstein could have easily said he can't be any more than, an average student in school, except he was one of the greatest geniuses of our history, like of all time. He was one of the greatest contributors to science, spirituality, philosophy, because he didn't narrow or limit the conceptuality of anything that he studied to just one area. He didn't limit everything to science. He looked at science and he said, where does this play out in the bigger picture? And where do I fit in within that bigger picture and within what is playing out within the bigger picture in the scientific realm? That kind of expansion is chaos because it changes a lot. Because we all often think that science and spirituality cannot be interconnected, but they are intricately interconnected. And there is no separating them, because it would be like separating us from an essential part of us. Science only exists because spirit exists, and spirit wants us to learn. So it's paradoxical, again, because they seem so oppositional, where science is about proof and spirituality is about belief. But one cannot exist without the other. An argument could absolutely be made that spirit could exist without science, but if spirit existed without science, then science would merely take on a different form. It would just be presented differently. These are the kind of thoughts and ideas and just grandiose ideas is what's coming through. It's just, I keep seeing this like expanding bubble over someone's head, like the, thought bubbles that you see in comics. I just keep seeing that, but it's all this intricate patterning and ideas that don't really need a foundational point because they're all coming from a higher power, all just so beautifully tied into this pile. And I love it. So let's take a look at how this has unfolded within yourself. I love that. I'm not at all surprised. Okay, we've got the Sage. We've got the Queen of Air. Oh, I'm tickled pink. And the body and the mind. Yes, exactly. Oh my goodness, you guys. Okay, so we have a lot of air energy here. And then we have the card 7 with the Sage. This is about letting your mind expand, but sharpen at the same time. So instead of narrowing, we're expanding, but we're sharpening the intellect. We're allowing ourselves to forge a much more prominent connection with your physical body and your mental body. So with this body and mind, this is about you learning that your mind is not separate from your body. Your body is not separate from your mind. And because of that, the greater your awareness of the duality that exists, the more that you're able to come into unity within yourself. This is an energy where the inner journey, okay, I'm like seeing somebody where the metaphor I'm being shown or the imagery I'm being shown is someone going on an inner journey, but all you do is you go to like a cabin in the woods. And where most people would think, well, they must be out communing with nature, sitting with nature, or you're out there to sit on the lake and ponder existence, Walden's Pond style. It's more like you went to this place, but this place is within your own mind, and there was nothingness or no thingness there. It's like, it's like a once chaotic mind was silenced. And in that silence, the chaos internally was felt because internally, the silence is unfamiliar. And so it can feel like it's wrong, like there's something missing. But the truth is that you reached a state of inner peace. And so when we reach the state of inner peace, when we are used to the monkey mind, when we're used to the mental spirals that we can go through, when we reach inner peace, and especially reaching inner peace within ourselves, while the world or our immediate surroundings are in a state of chaos, our inner world suddenly becomes the chaos because it's not familiar territory. And so the challenge is actually in embracing peace. The challenge that unfolded was embracing the nothingness, embracing the silence, embracing the slow, the pause, embracing the light, embracing the extremes, embracing the fact that maybe you don't have to work so hard for inner peace, but you can simply accept that throughout the course of your life, you have actually reached a point in your awareness and in your awakening and in your ascensions and in your healing journey where inner peace is now more natural than inner chaos. I love this energy so much. I love this energy so much. This is literally the energy that I can sit in and like journal on for pages and days, because there's no end to what can come through with this energy. Because it's like you have a tabula rasa or a blank slate in your mind. It's handing an artist a blank canvas and they're going, but wait, is this really blank? Because I was under the impression that I had to fix something else. I had to paint over something. But no, it's blank slate time. It's blank canvas time. This is incredible energy, pile one. I love it. Okay, I want to see how you guys are being called to take all of this inner, I just want to say an inner revolution, really. This inner revolution, and now refocusing it externally. So we have adventures. I love that because with the Dagaz rune and the number 5 actually is a number that denotes adventure. It's an innate quality of number 5. That's why it also is tied to change, because whenever we go out on some sort of adventure, we inherently change. We change our regular scheduled routines. We change our place wherever we're at, even if it's just temporarily. But we also change our energy. And so adventures are change. So we've got that, and we have Wise Woman of the Grove with grace. And then we've got 49. So this is reducing down to a 4. Now here is where you have this stability. And look, she's in the forest. She's finding this like treasure chest. When we move into a state of really moving with grace, with understanding that the way that we're moving in a sense of freedom here is because we have been gifted a blessing of grace. It's because we understand that everything reoccurs, everything comes back, everything purifies, everything is love, everything is ... And as you move forward into the world, what you're taking with you, oh my gosh. Okay. This is, again, I've had this energy on this channel before. It's the oppositional energy. I'm so excited for you guys. Like, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm so excited. Okay. Your inner energy, your inner journey was a divine masculine inner journey, where normally one would think it would be a divine feminine, because when you go internally, it's about receiving the awareness from within. But this was more you seeking that awareness, so that when you move externally, as you go on your adventures and go through all of these different changes, you're not only receptive to grace, but you exude it. So your understanding, now we're coming right back to that polarity, to the extremes, the duality, the dichotomy energy here. You're now understanding that there really is no separation or differentiation between the divine masculine and the divine feminine within you, because they both exist simultaneously. That when you flip the perspective on its head, and you start approaching the world with the understanding that I can move forward in my divine feminine energy and still create and still take action, because I still contain the divine masculine, but I can still be in a receptive mode. That's grace. That's divine grace, because you've now fully understood how to harmonize the body and the mind, how to harmonize the divine feminine and the divine masculine, how to understand all of these higher levels of awareness, but also sharpen those into this pure, clear-cut directionality moving forward. So your newest effect in the world is the experience of grace while embodying both and paradoxical energy. I don't have words. This is incredible. I really hope this resonated. Please, please, please let me know in the comment section below how this resonated, how it made you guys feel. I am so curious about this. So I do want to say thank you so much for being here. I want to give a huge shout out to your guides, to my guides, to the Great Spirit, to Saturn, and all of your many, many lessons. Thank you so much for helping us understand that you're here to teach us grander through the experience of extremes. Thank you for helping Pile 1 understand all of the energies they've been navigating through, helping them know that they're seen, know that it matters, and know that this is an exciting time for them. I am so honored to bring these messages. Thank you so much. All right, Pile 1, if this did resonate and you would like to support my channel, my brain is just like glitching. If you'd like to support my channel, some of the ways you can do that are by liking the video, commenting in the comment section below, subscribing to my channel. You can also go to the description box. There are links to donate to my channel, as well as a link to my Amazon author page, where you will find all 9 of my books, including the 2022 retrograde guidebooks, if you guys are interested in those after what I talked about in the intro. They're all available on Amazon, paperback, hardcover, Kindle, Kindle Unlimited, and you can find all of them from my Amazon author page. So please feel free to go and check those out. And I am going to leave you guys here. I hope that this reading really, I'm so excited. So I just hope this reading gave you all the confirmation. All right. I love you guys so much, and I will see you at my next reading. Bye. Hello, Pile 2. If you chose the growth card as well as the rune Wunjo, this is your message about the lessons from Saturn for what new effect you're going to be having on the world. Yeah, I'm curious here. Something about me jumping in and saying the word new effect had a kind of stickiness to the word new. And it almost is like, it's kind of like the notion that we don't want to necessarily change the effect that we have on the world, because we enjoy or appreciate the effect that we have. And so the concept of a new effect that we would have on the world is a little bit uncomfortable. It's curious. All right. So on the growth card, we're going to talk about this first. Nope. Okay. They want me to go over the intentions first. So the growth card as well as the Wunjo rune signify the core themes. And then I have a channeled message directly relating to those two that I sat down and allowed to flow through. So I'll read through that stuff with you guys. And these top 3 cards, the tarot, are the ways in which this lesson has unfolded or become disentangled or unraveled within your inner world, inner journey, inner world. I wanted to say journey, but I keep getting pulled into different wording than what would naturally come through my filter. So I'm sure we'll find out why. And then the two bottom oracle cards, they are about how this inner awareness is now ready to be brought into the outer world. Pile 2, your energy is different. And I don't mean that in a bad way. There's something in this energy where it's almost like there's a bit of a pushback, a bit of resistance to it. But it doesn't necessarily feel fear-based. It's more, okay, I'm seeing somebody getting ready to dive off the high dive. And they've been practicing on, the middle diving board and the low diving board. And those they've gotten really good at. And so they have their form perfect, but they're now at a much higher level. They're at a much higher height, All of the steps are the same. I wanted to say formation. Is that the word that, Spirit, what is that? What is the word that I'm looking for here? It's like the posture, the positioning, it's all the same. Everything is the same. Diving board is the same length, so it's the same amount of steps. Your form is the same as it was on the bottom two boards, but you're up higher. Now you can feel the wind more. You can see further. But the process itself, or the action itself, is still the same. So now the perception is grander, but it's still the same. And so there's this kind of hesitancy that I feel, because you want to be sure. It's like you want to be absolutely certain that everything is truly the same. It's just that the vision has grown. What an this reading has me so excited, you guys. The energies of this reading itself are, wow, it's so different. It is so different now that Saturn is direct. I can't even begin to explain it. But I hope you guys can actually feel the energy. So the growth card says, I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness. So you do want that grander view, but it says, I want to. And there's still the box. So you still have the same structure, the same formation, but you want to be able to see outside of the box. With Wunjo, we have the rune of joy, and it's the rune number 8. And I got infinite potential was one of the primary energies that came through, but also success, progress, prosperity. With the number 8, I also picked up the strength card energy of the major arcana alongside Leo, who is the ruler of the strength card. And so the lessons were focused on the revelation that joyful growth is about celebrating both the wildness and the gentleness within, reevaluating growth potential to come back to the self, love the self, and grow inner loving strength. So when we're looking at our growth potential, the growth potential, if you look at this card and use that as a symbolism, the growth potential is all the colors outside of it. It's the whole card itself. It's the card and the rune. So that's the growth potential that you have there. You can see it. But there's still the center point here. I love this because this ties so deeply into the message that I channeled. And when I channeled these messages, I was not looking at the cards. So I wanted to just write down the core energies of the cards in the rune and just let the messages flow through, I am so I'm tickled pink right now, you guys. So Saturn is focused the lessons of growth in this pile on the inner and outer blissfully loving state of just being. So sometimes sorrows and troubles they abound in our life. They are just everywhere. The wise, and the message that I got on that is the wise one looks upon these experiences as tools to grow a more fertile garden of love within. Sometimes the most painful truth to admit to oneself is that we are the cause of our own woes. While there's no control one may hold over other actions, reactions, or events outside of themselves, each one of us holds the power to decide the impact of these things upon our inner world. So balancing the mind, the body, and the soul is not as much about doing this or that, but rather the recognition of all three woven together. Thus, caring for one cares for all, and so too is the reverse true. Neglecting one neglects all. And then I got this message, and it came just laden with, imagery. I was having a lot of clairvoyant visions about Saturn and the rings and seeing them either separately or together. So Saturn and its rings are actually, they're separate, but only by space, but only by perception. They're really never separate. They're connected to the planet in the center. Your lessons are the same. Your mind is not apart from the body, nor are either apart from the soul. The center, or your heart space, is what holds the gravitational field of connection. And then I was hearing lyrics from the song Jericho by Iniko, where it says, I don't need gravity, I just need growth. And I love that, because the message itself is saying that the gravity doesn't hold you back from growth. And it's not a challenge to the song itself. It's about realizing that the gravitational field within your heart space is what anchors the growth, anchors joy and bliss and all of the different pieces and parts of your journey and your growth into you. So if you think about it that way, you're the diver. As the diving reference, you as the diver, you're the heart. You're the center point. The diving board, same length as all the other ones. The only thing that's different about it is the height. So it's about the depth. So the only thing different from this circle to that circle is the diameter and circumference. It's the expansion of it. But they're still circles. We can label coloring and border styles as differences, but they're still circles. The core, the basis, the formation is still the same. We go through all these changes and we go through all of these experiences in our life, and it changes who we are, or it changes how we see ourselves. And it's a really hard message to hear, we're the ones responsible for our own woes. We're the ones responsible for our own pains, for our own struggles. And guys, as a survivor of domestic violence, I am here to tell you, even for me, that's a hard pill to swallow, but I do understand it on a much higher level where I'm at now than I did the first time I channeled that message. Because I may not be responsible for what someone else did to harm me physically, mentally, emotionally. I may not be responsible for the actions that they took. But if any of you have read my first book, Chemistry with Kismet, you know that I say a lot in that book. I may not be responsible for those actions, but I'm responsible for having stayed in that environment. I am responsible for having allowed that to be perpetuated so often without speaking up, without asking for help, without walking away. I take full responsibility for that. Why? Because in taking full responsibility, when we take full responsibility for our actions, our reactions, our emotional state, our mental state, our physical state, our spiritual state, when we take responsibility of all of those things, we understand in that moment that we are empowering ourselves to change. We're empowering ourselves to grow. We're empowering ourselves to move into a blissful, unified energy within ourselves. As the diver is on the board, the diver might want that perfect dive, or they want to be absolutely certain. Check, recheck, make sure they cross their T's, dot their I's, checks and balances are done to make sure that when they take that first step, everything will go as smoothly as it is meant to go because they've practiced this time and time again. And the only change is that they have now moved to a higher level. So we change ourselves, but it's more about seeing things on another level so that we have more empowerment and more growth, more grace, more joy. More joy. Okay, I want to check out the tarot cards and see how this has unraveled inside. Okay, we have the Ace of Air, or the Ace of Swords. Oh my gosh. The card 21 with Perception. And the Ace of Fire, or the Ace of Wands. And I love that we have an egg with a spider here. We've got this kind of interesting symbol, because to me it almost looks like it just looks like some sort of ancient symbol of the stars. I don't know. I just get really caught up on this particular symbol. I love it. But the Perception card, with it being 21, correlates to the World card, which is Saturn's energy. But remember, we're again I'm keep being brought back to the diving boards. Do some of you guys swim regularly, or are you divers? Or do you like watching the Olympics? Perhaps, but it's just coming through so strongly. The perception has changed. And the funny thing is, your perception has grown, but your eyes are covered. Your perception has expanded, almost as though you were blinded. And in that blindness, now you see. With the air and the fire energy, that's a whole lot of like divine masculine, this is what we're doing, this is where we're going energy. But it doesn't feel like it's too much at all. It's internally what you needed was the greatest level of clarity you could gain. And sometimes the greatest level of clarity that we can find, the clearest vision that we can receive, can only come when we stop looking. It can only come when we start sensing, when we start seeing rather than looking, when we perceive rather than, when we perceive something intangibly rather than it's like perceiving rather than perspecting. But I'm not entirely sure what spirit means by that, because in my brain, perspective and perception are pretty much the same. A little bit different, but still. This is interesting energy here. Because with this energy here, if you see, you have this like icy white blue and this golden yellow and orange. And in the middle, there's darkness. The darkness at the center. The center is what needed to be dark. Spirit, can you explain that? Can you help me with this one? Oh my gosh, you guys. I want it to focus so bad. Oh my God. Okay. I do not know what just happened because my phone activated and all I could see was a little Siri bubble. And then the word hello with a question mark. And as soon as I moved it up so I could focus, it said master your magic. What? Okay, that's kind of what I mean. So the center needed to be darkened. If we focus so consistently on our heart, if we focus just in that place, we're still taking from other places. So it comes back to that awareness that when we care for one part of ourselves, we do care for all the parts of ourselves, but we also have to remember that when we're neglecting something, then the rest get neglected. And in order for the growth and the rebalance to occur, we have to darken the interaction or the perception of us in terms of that place. So it may have felt like you were kind of disconnected from your own heart and trying to find your way back to feeling, to experiencing. And the more that you tried to feel your way back, the less clear things get, the less clear things could have gotten for you, because the center needed to be dark for the truest eye to open. And the truest eye is one that perceives without seeing, envisions without imagery, pictures, tangibility, envisions without your physical senses or physical vision. It's like the eyes are there, but you're no longer seeing through your eyes. And I'm not saying that like I'm picking up physical blindness. It's like if you've gone through your entire life and you have seen all these synchronicities all the time, all over the place, and then they're gone. There are no synchronicities. You see a bird and you don't feel that same, like, that is a message. It's just a bird to you. And in that state, you can start wondering, where was the magic, or where did the magic go? What has happened? There was a leveling that was happening to elevate you to the high dive, to bring you up to that level. Because if you keep going and going and going on just the two that you're the most familiar with, you neglect that higher level. And in doing so, you take for granted where you came from, how you got there. It's not about the gentleness of the bottom two anymore, because you need to have the balance of the wildness, and vice versa. It's the mind and the spirit, the soul coming together, harmonizing together. This is so interesting. I want to know so much. And I just saw 2323. That might be significant for some of you. So let's take a look at the oracle cards, because I want to know how this is going to be translated into, your new effect in the outside world. We have thriving. Oh, I love this card. It's so beautiful. And look, we have the giraffe with the long neck. So the longer view. And guardians of the land with protection. Again, another 21. We've got 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. So ones and twos, or ones and threes. But we did have 2 and 3. Wow. Okay. I gotta stop. I gotta stop doing that. I could end up breaking down the numbers forever. As you move forward, there is this awareness, because you have been in a place where it felt like you were essentially stripped or ripped away from spirit, or away from the synchronicities, away from the magic that you are so accustomed to, that you are so used to, that you needed it needed to be that way for the greatest growth. It's like, if you think about how we feel joy with the experience of something, the very first time we do it, there's just this excitement, this aliveness. You're jumping out of an airplane for the very first time and you're so excited. You're so right there. And the second time, there's still like that flutter of, I'm about to jump out of a plane. I'm a little scared, but I've done it before, so I can do it again. By the third time, you're like, I got this. I got this. I've done it twice before. And the more that you do it, the more that excitement wears down, the more that magic wears off. And it doesn't mean that that isn't what's right for you. It doesn't mean that that isn't your passion. It doesn't mean that that doesn't exist in the realm of joy and bliss and growth in your life anymore. It means that in that continual action state, it's become so routine that the routine needs to be shaken up. So going back to the dark center shakes up the routine, because now where to go? It's gone, is the kind of energy, but it didn't go anywhere. It was helping give you clarity and inspiration for new while it's still being the same. Now I get that resistance in the beginning. Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense, because it doesn't mean that you're changing anything. You're still having these perfect, beautiful swan dives. You are still getting the same scores from the judges, the 10 out of 10 out of 10 out of 10 judges. You just needed to elevate the awareness so that you could see a bit further so that you could see more perspective. So your perception could grow in a different way so that you can have a new effect on the world while still engaging in exactly what you love. So yes, I do understand why there was that resistance to me saying a new effect on the world, because it's not that the effect that you were having on the world was wrong or the wrong path or anything like that. But that moment of darkness at the center was so that you could understand that there's still growth. There's still that growth potential, but the growth potential needs more bliss and more joy and more parts of you engaged. And so Saturn, oh my gosh, I want to cry because this is such a beautiful thing. Saturn is showing me your heart as though it was swaddled like a baby and held tightly so that you could navigate your mind, your awareness, your perception. So you could do that in a way that would bring you the clarity that you needed without losing the core essence of the spark, without losing that egg, that newness. So that moving forward, now you're going back to diving, to thriving, but you understand the level of protection this path has, or this journey, or this endeavor, or whatever it is, the level of protection that it has. And the magic that will always, always exist. It can never be stripped, removed, negated, anything, because it is an innate part of your soul. So a new effect is simply a more profound, expansive effect moving forward. And it couldn't have happened. It could not have happened this way if you had not chosen the path of personal responsibility. That action taken by any one of us opens the door to such amazing, abundant blessings, especially from Saturn, because that is Saturn's ultimate lesson, is understanding the nature of our responsibility to trust and love and leadership within our own lives, and remembering that our perception dictates the experience. Okay, pile 2. Oh, you guys are incredible. Thank you so much. Seriously, thank you for everything, for being here. Thank you for everything that you do for yourself and for the collective. Thank you for enduring that darkness. Thank you for everything. Just thank you. Thank you as well to your guides and my guides for working together and connecting and facilitating these messages to come through. Thank you to the Great Spirit for all of the unconditional love and support. And thank you so much, so much to Saturn for guiding these messages, for bringing forth this clarity, for helping the world understand themselves, but also understand you and how we work with you in this life. Thank you so much. All right, pile 2. If this resonated and you guys would like to support my channel, I would love that and appreciate it. Some of the ways that you can do that are by liking this video, commenting in the comment section below. You can also go into my description box, check out the links to donate to my channel. You can subscribe to my channel, and also in the description box, there are links to my Amazon author page where you can find all 9 of my books, including the 2022 Planetary Retrograde Guidebooks, which are still very insightful. I'm shocked how much help they still give. Kind of shocked, but they're available in hardcover, paperback, Kindle, and Kindle Unlimited. So all of those links are in the description box, and please feel free to do one or all of those things. I truly appreciate it. Pile 2, you guys are rock stars. I want you to know that I just keep hearing we are proud of you, and I want to pass that on too before we close this out. So thank you again. I love you guys so, so much, and I will see you at my next reading. Bye. Hello, Pile 3. If you chose the friendship card as well as the Elhaz rune, this is your message about the lessons from Saturn's retrograde that is helping you to have a new impact or a new effect on the world. So impact is a different word than I expected because I've been using effect because of the cause and effect. This is about a deeper impact that you are going to be having on the world, which is interesting. So the friendship card and the Elhaz rune signify the theme of the lessons. The top 3 cards are the tarot cards. Those are set an intention, or I said, wow, okay. I set an intention for those cards for them to signify how this has, become illuminated within yourself. That's also new. I thought it would be more like how it's unraveled, but for you, it was more like a light needed to be shown on it. Interesting. And the bottom 2 cards are how you can take all of that inner awareness and bring it into the outside world. So the friendship card says, I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason. And with the Elhaz rune, that is the rune that means elk. It's the 15th rune in the Elder Futhark runes, 15, which reduces to a 6. 6s are about the choices that we make. They're about harmony, balance, unconditional love. There's a lot of, because we have 15, which reduces to a 6, that would be the devil and the lover's energy. These 2 cards, especially in the Rider-Waite Tarot decks, are so clearly connected because you have the devil and 2 people, and they're chained up and separated from each other on the devil card. And then in the lover's card, you have the tree of life and an angel over top. Some people say it's Archangel Michael. Some say Archangel Gabriel. I'm just going to go with it's a divine angelic presence, but the people are free. They are not chained up. They're not separated. They are experiencing intimacy, vulnerability, authenticity with each other within a protected, loving, warm space. This also correlates with Capricorn and Gemini energy. One of them earth energy, one of them air energy, but something that they both have in common is 2 aspects within one. So Gemini is signified by the twins, Castor and Pollux, but their constellation has those 2 connected to each other. Capricorn is the sea goat. So it is both of the land, but also of the water. With these energies here, some of the core themes of this is the awareness that we're more than one thing. We hold more than one energy, and how we are offered the choice of either confinement or empowerment. We're offered choices in our life. Friendships themselves, they're not always defined as being between 2 people or, a group of people. But we do, as a whole, we tend to get caught up in the semantics and the common definitions of things. So when we think about friendship, we think about the people that we consider friends. The greatest lesson that I picked up within this group is about the conceptualization of friendship with oneself and also with your connection to the divine. When we're afraid of connections with others or resistant to connections with the divine, we often attach this to a past experience. It's more like a past evidential or experiential causality. So you have some sort of basis of evidence to say, I can't connect with someone, or I can't connect with spirit, I can't connect with the divine, I can't connect with myself because this happened. And now, because this thing happened, forging connections is scary, it's unsafe, it's even sometimes it's unwanted because we just don't want to go through the same things that we went through. So we go into a state of heavily protecting ourselves. But in doing so, we actually perpetuate that devil energy within ourselves because now we're separating ourselves from genuine connection. And genuine connections are a beautiful, beautiful reflection of the genuine connection that we have within ourselves, as well as the connection that we have with the divine. And so when we separate ourselves because we've gone through something, it can be really hard to feel like you're a friend to yourself or feel like spirit is a friend to you. And I understand that intricately. But Saturn's message here is about learning to be your own friend. Just like the devil energy linked with the 15th rune, we don't always recognize when we're not connecting with ourselves. Sometimes we can go through experiences where we get into connections, friendships, partnerships, what have you, and we are our authentic self. And for whatever reason, that connection falls apart, falls away. Without an awareness of, what the reason was for that person to be in your life, what the reason for the crumbling of that connection, we can harbor that pain. We can harbor it deeply, deep within ourselves, and then feel as though all that's left is enduring this life alone. And while I 100% hold to the truth that most of this soul journey that each and every one of us are on is a solo journey, that does not mean that we're not meant to share ourselves, our love, our awareness, our perceptions, our gifts, our just us with others. Otherwise, we'd have a world filled with so many people, and the only thing tangibly felt would be loneliness. So with this pile in particular, I actually got a download about advice or some tangible things that you can do to forge connection with yourself and also with the divine. So you can sit down with yourself, ask yourself questions, give yourself time to hear the answer from within, build a conversation with yourself. And I know I kind of scoffed at this idea because most people, if you're walking down the street and you're talking to yourself, they're going to think you're, crazy. You don't have to do it out in public. But even just that fear that maybe it will be seen as crazy can hold you back from engaging in that kind of thing. Journaling is a really great way. I do that with myself a lot. Sometimes when I feel like there's something that I need to get out of my mind, but I can't quite find it, I'll pick a word. I'll pick a word and I'll go to the online etymology dictionary, and I'll go to the root of that word. I will break it down to its absolute origin point that I can find. And then I'll think about the definition of the word versus the meaning of its origin. And what does that mean for me right now? And then I'll start having this awareness kind of just arising within me. And so I'll start journaling. And when I journal in that way, I'm really authentic with myself. Like, I'll call myself out, be like, yeah, I'm going to acknowledge this about how I feel, or this feeling just came up, or this thought just popped into my mind in terms of what I'm talking about. And as I'm doing that, I'm sitting with myself. I'm talking to myself. I am learning myself. And there are many ways for us to do that. But the more that we cultivate that friendship with ourselves, the more that we learn that self-care and self-love comes in a multitude of ways. We look at loving the self, and a lot of the times what I've found is there's that direct comparison of loving the self as much as you love someone else, or loving yourself above and beyond loving another person, because then you are ready to give that love out. But when we think about our friendships, do we ever consider that we need a self-friendship for authentic connections in friendships? And I ask you guys that, but that's actually a question that I myself have never addressed. So I'm channeling this, but it's coming through in a kind of, I never thought about that way. But when we give the things to ourselves that we love, cultivating that kindness with ourselves, that generosity that with ourselves, all those things that we give to our friends, we're now giving to ourselves. Now we're learning about the choices that we make that either connect or separate us. And we're learning a lot of the reasons for the past evidentiary situations that have caused pain and that have us hesitant to connect, yet still wanting to, because we don't know what the reason for it is. I also got a message from Spirit directly, and I heard it's not required that you do elaborate rituals nor follow the steps of others to connect with the divine. Sit down and talk. Just like if you were talking with a lifelong friend. Because in truth, the divine has been your longest friendship. Formality is not a necessity. And I loved that because I got this image of Spirit and a person sitting on a park bench, just talking and laughing like old buddies. And to hear the divine has been your lifelong friend. There are times in our life where we don't know that, don't believe that, where we doubt, and all those things are okay. It's okay to feel all of those things because we are going through this experience in this life, and it's not always the easiest thing. And sometimes it can feel like the universe or the divine have abandoned us. They don't care. And they're certainly not a friend. I just heard nothing could be further from the truth. Saturn is helping you understand the value of you in a kind of different way, than most teachings, most lessons. I'm being drawn to like my shelf of self-help and spiritual books that I have above my altar space. And it's like most of the things that you find out there talk about how to love yourself, but befriending yourself is different. And going internally in order to befriend yourself, the pathway is different. The entrance point is different. The journey is different. I don't have another word. I just get this feeling it's different. So let's take a look at the tarot cards for the inner journey, the way that this has, come forth, because I'm curious to see. Okay, so we have the Two of Wands, the Journey card, and the Mother. Okay. Actually, with this Journey card, when you look at it, there's a pathway to the stars and a pathway to like bright daylight energy. And that's actually what I felt. I just didn't know how to explain it. That's what I felt with the journey of befriending the self is different, because when we learn to love ourselves, we're diving into the fears, we're diving into the wounds, we're going into the places within ourselves of darkness in order to remember our light, in order to give that back to ourselves, in order to illuminate that darkness. When we're befriending ourselves, it's about learning how to have fun with yourself, learning how to do the things that you enjoy, learning how to connect back to you. There's this happiness energy within the journey of befriending yourself. Both journeys are the same, but one empowers the heart, the other empowers the mind. The journey to love the self empowers the heart, but the journey to love or to befriend the self empowers the mind. It fortifies your mind, because what you're doing is you're saying, I'm worthy of connection in every sense of the word. And if I give myself this type of friendship where this is how, I show my appreciation for myself, this is how I allow myself to have fun, to laugh. Wow, I just lost that train. The Mother card has me a little bit caught here, but it's like, it's like the journey to find, okay. Thank you, Spirit. So this is about the journey to find better ways to take care of yourself, to heal yourself, to love yourself. It's very similar to remothering yourself or reparenting yourself, except it's not in the realm of love. So the best example that I can give that Spirit brought into the forefront of my mind is with my kids. We maintain a healthy, parent-child boundary, but we always encourage our kids to dive into the things that they're passionate about. We like to cultivate that. No matter how rapid it is that they change or they shift what they are passionate about, we're always right there. And the more that we strengthen that within themselves, these hobbies, these passions that they have, the more that they realize that they have the ability and the choice of giving to themselves in the right ways, in the ways that really fill them up. So my daughter really loved sketching for a while. So we would get her sketchbooks and charcoal and pencils and shaders and erasers and this and that. And then in a blink of an eye, she was like, nope, I need to paint. And so we got canvases and brushes and paint. And then after that, it was that she wanted to repurpose old furniture. So we worked on that. Never once did we say, maybe that isn't something you should do, because each and every one of those things were experiences that she was having with herself. The older my kids get, the more they worry about what their friends are doing and social media. But when they struggle or they have a argument with their friend group or any of that, they always go back to sketching or painting, reading, writing. They go back and they give back to themselves. And they do this. And I've watched them do this so many times. It amazes me, but this is the exact thing that Spirit is helping bring that forth here. Every time they do that, they strengthen that connection with themselves. This is what Saturn's helping you understand. And I'm not even getting any example scenarios of, what led it here or anything like that. It's just about learning how to always come back to the self, but reevaluating how that coming back to the self really plays out. How does it work? How do you nurture yourself? How do you love yourself? What do you do? But also, how are you your own friend? So let's find out, we'll grab the oracle cards, how this is going to help translate into, your new effect or new impact in the outside world. So we have potential. And we have bear spirit with healing, the card number 4. We have a 4 here as well. And so with that, we've got a 2, 3, 4. It's interesting because this is, oh no, that's 17. Sorry, I'm reading the numbers wrong. But with these 2 here, again, I'm being brought back to healing the mother wound or healing a parental wound, or healing some sort of wound of nurturance. More than anything, healing a nurturance wound. But the biggest thing here is this potential. Healing our belief in potential, that it can, oh man, it's like walking a fine line. Because if we heal this belief in our potential, but we never get beyond potential, we can end up in a state of lack and want, because we have all this potential, but we don't know what to do with it. When we befriend ourselves, we're showing ourselves, not only do I have this potential, but now this potential is a possibility. Now this potential can be translated into a form of healing. Now this potential has opened a new leg of the journey. Now this potential empowers me in mind and the heart and the soul and the body. Now I'm learning that I don't have to always, it's like I don't always have to be locked down, be confined, don't always have to go based off of what everybody else says or whatever happened in the past. What I can do is I can just show myself, this is what it feels like to be my own friend. And so if this is what it feels like, this is how I feel when I am my own friend, that's how I should feel when I'm in friendships with other people. I have all of these things inside of me. When I'm coming out into the world now, I'm able to help people understand how to befriend themselves, how to find clarity, find happiness, find joy internally, how to find warmth in the coldest places by understanding all of these things that we can do to love ourselves. All through this journey, as you work with yourself, as you interact with others, always, always, Spirit is right beside you. The reason why I'm saying this is because Spirit wants you to know that the reason why all these friendship lessons have come through in challenging ways, exhausting ways, painful ways, in exciting and joyful ways, all of them have come through to help you understand that the reason for everything is to help you know that you are never alone. You're never alone. Okay, pile 3. First of all, thank you guys so much. I know it seems like this might have ended abruptly, but I literally heard, give them a little bit of silence and then close it up. And I absolutely am honoring that. So I do want to say thank you for being here. I want to thank your guides, my guides, the Great Spirit, for facilitating the connection between our energies, for helping these messages to flow through, for helping this awareness to be seen, to be understood, and for always, always helping us to not live in a heavily populated world filled with nothing but loneliness. Thank you for your friendship, for your love, for your guidance. Thank you also to Saturn for your wisdom and your teachings. And thank you for everyone in pile 3. As always, it is such an honor and a blessing. Thank you. Pile 3, if this resonated and you would like to support my channel, I would really, truly appreciate that. Some of the ways you can do that are by liking the video, commenting in the comment section below. You can subscribe to my channel. You could also go to the description box, and there are links in the description box to donate to my channel. There are also links to my Amazon author page. From that author page, you'll find access to all 9 of my books. They are available in hardcover, paperback, Kindle, and Kindle Unlimited. All of them can be found by going to that link in the description box. And now I'm just going to let you guys go. I am sending you guys a big hug. I love you guys so much. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you at my next reading. Bye. Hello, pile 4. If you chose the Success card as well as the Radho rune, this is your message about the lessons from Saturn's retrograde and what new effect you are going to be having upon the world moving forward. So the core card, the Success card, as well as the Radho rune, that's going to be the theme, the kind of overall theme that we're going to be talking about. And I did channel messages about that, so I will go through those notes that I have with you guys. The tarot cards on the top row, those signify how this has unfolded within yourself, the inner journey from Saturn's retrograde period. And then the oracle cards down on bottom are taking that inner awareness and bringing it forth into the outside world. So the Success card says, I know that there is no greater goal than to love. And Radho, or Rado, depending on which translation you use, it means journey or wagon. It's the 5th rune in the Elder Futhark runes. And the number 5 is about adventure and change, but it also is about chaos, conflict. At the same time, it's about structure. So it's a kind of dualistic, oppositional energy contained within the number of 5. And there was another pile. I don't know if you guys were drawn to it or not. The only reason I'm mentioning that is because for all of the other piles, actually, the number of the rune came through with astrological and major arcana card correspondence. Yours was the only pile that did not. And there was another pile that had a 5 energy in it. But yours is very different from that. And it's not that astrology doesn't matter with this pile. It's that the energy here, I just heard, transcends beyond, but not above, transcends beyond that core. That's very interesting. So the first message that I got for you guys was when we have finally stepped across the threshold, going past the point of no return, then we begin to recognize the structure of change from the chaos of conflict as it emerges. So the structure of change is what is emerging out of the chaos of conflict. A lot of the messages that I got for this pile in particular is very mystic. And that happens on this channel a lot. So I'm just going to keep going and diving into it. I just saw 333 as well. So threes may be significant for you guys as well. Success and failure is what Spirit wanted to talk about and Saturn wanted to talk about. I have a couple of questions. Success and failure. Are they truly different or are they the same? And then I literally wrote, like, this is an interesting and quite elevated energy that I feel with this pile. It's also very comfortable to me. So thanks, guys. So this is the energy of undoing, which then becomes. That was the best way that I could explain how it feels. And it didn't even, I was seeing people like taking things apart, like a mechanic taking apart an engine and rebuilding it. And nothing really changed except the awareness of all of the parts. Now you have the awareness of all of the parts once you take it apart and you put it all back together exactly as it is, but it has now become something different because of your awareness. And that was the imagery that I was getting with this is the undoing, which then becomes kind of energy. After that, I sat for a little bit and I was letting it kind of come through how it wanted to. And I heard, for failure to occur, we must then realize that we successfully tried. And for something to be pronounced or announced or deemed as successful, we must then realize we failed at remaining. Then I got the spiral of life, evolution, integrated duality, and I saw this progression of a single cell amoeba evolving into a fish evolving into a monkey evolving into a human. And at each stage of that, there is both success and failure. So the single cell amoeba fails to remain a single cell amoeba when it evolves, goes through the evolution process. But it successfully evolves into the fish. Now, the fish then fails to be a fish. It successfully becomes the fish, but it fails at remaining as a fish. And it successfully evolves once more. And that is what the energy here is. It's understanding that everything is together in that way so that we can restructure the view of success and the view of failure. And a lot of the times out in the world, we talk about, well, do you have a fear of success or a fear of failure? But with this pile, it's like the fear isn't of success, nor is it of failure. The fear is of not understanding the parts of the whole, so that when it's time to put all the parts back, there won't be the, there will not, it's, I'm seeing like a wagon and the axle, but there's like a part missing, so it can't turn properly. So there won't be any steadiness. There can't be any progression because there's something that is missed. And so the fear that other people would deem as fear of failure or fear of success, in this case, is just a fear of misunderstanding. And if you misunderstand the purpose of a crucial feature, and when you put things back together, you've got an extra piece that is meant to be put back in place, but you don't understand why it has to be put back in place. So you don't put it back in place, now there's that sense of incompleteness. Did I fail? Did I succeed? Yes and no. It's both. But it doesn't mean that the journey was wrong. It doesn't mean that the order was wrong. There's just this it's just kind of like a little niggling in the back of your mind, like something just doesn't, it's just not quite there. What is it that, am I holding myself back? Is spirit holding me back? Am I missing something? There's a tiny, tiny, tiny piece that there was a tiny piece that wasn't quite fully understood. So essentially, failure to remain the same indicates successful change. Successful change inevitably then leads to a failure to remain the same. So you have always been both failing and successful. And it's the perspective of yourself which defines that meaning in life, in your life, in how you interact with the world, or what you do in the world, or how you create it. This energy is so existential. And I absolutely love it, because we can get very caught up on this word success. We can also get caught up on the word journey. And I got really bugged by using the word journey, like this life, this journey of life, this spiritual journey that we're on, because I use it all the time. And when I was sitting and journaling this past weekend, I'm filming this on the 7th. So I was journaling on Sunday morning. I woke up at like 4:44 in the morning, actually 4:44 in the morning. And I sat and journaled pages and pages and pages. It started because I heard life is a highway and I want to ride it all night long. I heard those lyrics in my head. And I started thinking about the idea that we're traveling on a highway in life. And instead of looking at it like a journey, because a journey indicates that we're going from point A to point B, there's a destination point, but everybody says that this life isn't about the destination, it's about the journey. So we don't want to look at the destination point, so we're on a highway. On highways, there are exits. So you're low on fuel, you're low on energy, you've got to exit off of that highway, go get fuel, go get a place to sleep, something like that. You come to another exit, there's a house, and you suddenly have the key to the house. When you open the door, the house is laden down with dust and debris and all of this stuff. And you have to choose whether you want to clean up this house, because it's your house. You have the key. Do you want to clean it up, or do you want to get back on the highway? And no matter how many times you get back on the highway, every exit you take, the house is going to be there. It's my correlation to, clearing the clutter of the mind and identifying where you've kind of pushed things aside. That's the dust covered stuff versus what you've let in from the outside world. But once you decide to start cleaning that and getting used to that place, and you clear all the clutter and all of the debris and everything out, and then you dust everything down and you polish it all up, and now you have a home base, you have roots, you have a foundation of awareness within yourself. Now is when we go on journeys. Now is when we go on adventures, but we always have a return point, just like this circle here. We always have this return point. So I was getting Ouroboros energy. Go out, you go on this adventure, you come back and you have something with you, which is a piece of awareness that you're ready to put into your subconscious house. But when you come back, there's clutter and debris. There's no dust, but there's clutter and debris. And you know that you've cleared that clutter and you've cleared that debris. And you know that you're not the one that put it there. That was projections of others or perceptions of others that you piled up in there. Now you have to clean it again. And you just went out and had this new shiny adventure and you have this new shiny awareness and you just wanted to put it in to your subconscious house and enjoy it. Did you fail at cleaning the house before you left for your adventure? Or was that initial cleaning a success, but because that initial cleaning was a success and you went out on a new adventure, you changed, and therefore the clutter may have come back, but doesn't mean that you failed. And that's really how the healing journey goes, because when we clear the clutter, but then we go out and we live our lives and we go through experiences, past situations, past mentalities, past pains can get triggered, and then that clutter comes back. And what do? We either look at it and give up, or we say, okay, I cleared it once before, as annoying as this is, as exhausting as this is, I'm going to do it again so I can enjoy being here within myself, and I can understand that I'm successful and that this is where I'm meant to be. This is what I'm doing, and it's okay. So this is about understanding that when we place identification of something, whether it's an action, a creation, a thought, a feeling, a relationship, a job, when we attach a definition or an identification of either it being a success or it being a failure, we're discounting its polarity or its duality, because makes sense. Because humanity as a whole places a very high value on success and laments failure, except when they're trying to give encouragement. So Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. He also invented 1,000 ways to not make a light bulb. Were those failures? No. Yes. You see, it's both. So Saturn really is focusing a lot on helping you understand that through every evolutionary jump that you've made in this life, so every time that you feel like, you've gone through an ego death, or you've gone through an ascension or an awakening, you've changed, you've transformed, and old stuff comes back. And you go, but I healed this, I did this, I got over it. Every time that happens, it doesn't mean that you have failed, nor that you have succeeded. It means that you have both succeeded and failed, because that's the nature. Because we're continually going through this process, and it really doesn't matter about the destination. It matters how you view things. It matters what your perspective is. And so to evaluate success versus failure means that we have to evaluate our perspective, our view on what success is, on what failure is, and on ourselves as a whole in terms of these two things. So let's take a look at your tarot cards. We have Abundance, the Queen of Fire, and the Six of Air, or the Six of Swords. This is incredible because what this is telling me is, through understanding that all of these things intertwine, I'm getting like the infinity symbol, and Ouroboros symbol, the snake eating its own tail. What you've realized is that you already have all of this power within yourself. You have this self-empowerment, but you have some real magic to you. And it's because as you go through this unfolding of, it's almost like a slow evaluation of self, but it's a slow evaluation of self as you're sitting in a garden watching a flower bloom. As tedious as that may sound, because it's not like it just pops open. No, this is not that kind of flower. It's like a flower where one petal comes out and 2 weeks later, another petal comes out. And it does that over the course of a long duration of time, because it's helping you understand that just because it's blooming doesn't mean that the bud that held it ceases to be, nor that the bud has failed the flower. It has successfully changed. So it doesn't remain the same, but it does change, which means that it is a success and a failure simultaneously. And I literally just saw like an orange cat out of my peripheral vision pop its head up by my desk, like curious, and I kind of whipped my head over to the side because I didn't want it to knock down a cup, but there isn't a cup there. And then I had lights flashing in my hallway. This is a lot of spiritual energy. I really love it though. When you going through all of these really high level philosophical ideas and thoughts, there can be times where we're like, nobody's going to understand me. Nobody's going to get it. I get that. I understand how that feels because I experienced that myself. But again, I just keep hearing, does that mean that your understanding is a failure? Does it mean that their lack of understanding you is a failure? I almost get the sense like they want to scrub these words out of your brain, but not in a sense of like forgetting them or bypassing this part of your journey, this part of your pathway or what you're doing in life. They want to scrub them so that you realize that they're just words. They're just words. So if you can play around with them and say, okay, I successfully wrote a book, which means I failed at not writing a book. I successfully quit my job, which means I failed at keeping my job. So when you do that, you start seeing your whole life as being both of these things, so that moving forward, taking action moving forward, there isn't the power of fear of one or the other remaining, because now you understand that one part. Now you have that understanding that it was never about success nor failure. It was about the perception, about the definition of it. And now those don't matter anymore. So now it's just about the experience of it. And that's why everybody says it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Thank you, Spirit. I love when Spirit does this like full circle thing. So let's find out from the Oracle cards just how to take that inner awareness and bring it forth. So we have wonders and hummingbird spirit with joy and the number 22. Oh, I love this. I love that the hummingbird is here for you guys. My grandma's been on my mind a lot. I'm filming this on my dad's birthday, and my grandma's favorite animal was a hummingbird. She literally collected hummingbirds. And now I've got hummingbird stuff all over the place. But this is, when you move out into the world, once the success versus failure has been scrubbed so that you see everything as both of those things, so it takes the potency out of them, and now your perception is just simply about experience. Moving forward, now you get to see the wonder. Now you get to experience the awe and the magic. Now you get to feel that joy because it defies explanation. It defies reason. It defies logic. Just like the hummingbird, who can move ridiculously fast. You now, it's like you walk out your door and you're like Mr. Rogers and you're just super happy all the time. But it isn't a forced happy, and it isn't a disingenuous happy. It's just a simple, wow, yeah, what do I get to experience today? Instead of, oh my gosh, what's coming at me? What am I going to have to do? How do I succeed? How do I avoid failure? What if I fail? Can I succeed? Will I succeed? No longer will that be there, because success and failure have no meaning anymore, because everything is both. Everything's both. You've found the portal to your own power. You have awoken your own magic. This is incredible. This is the message that I have for you, Pile 4. I'm in awe of you. I am so deeply honored that you are here. Thank you. I want to say thank you also to your guides, to my guides, to the Great Spirit, and a huge thank you to Saturn for these messages, for facilitating the connections between the energy of the collective of Pile 4 as well as myself, for co-creating and collaborating with me as the conduit and the filter for the messages and the awareness that you have to bring. And thank you so much for the experience of the energy of Pile 4. It's been really awesome. Thank you. Pile 4, if this resonated and you guys would like to support my channel, I would love that and appreciate it, of course. Some of the ways that you can do that are liking this video, commenting in the comment section below, subscribing to my channel. You can also check out the description box below. There are links within the description box to donate to my channel. There's also a link to my Amazon author page. On that Amazon author page link, you will find all 9 of my books. They're available in hardcover, paperback, Kindle, and Kindle Unlimited. So feel free to go check those out. And without holding you here any longer, I want to say one more time, thank you. You guys are incredible. You blow me away. And it's just, I'm really excited. I can't wait for you guys to receive these messages. So, all right. I love you guys. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you at my next reading. Bye.